Hi, welcome to Module 1 of Digital Advertising. Let's dive right in. We're starting off with analyzing the overall digital advertising environment and then optimizing the platforms and the dashboards at our fingertips in order to use them properly and really leverage the modern day advertising tools available to us. So what we're going to talk about in this module, three major things. First of all, we're going to look at the so-called decline of organic reach and just why it's so important that we put a bit of money behind our social media content. I am the last person who wants to tell you to spend more money and send more money to Mark Zuckerberg and company. However, we know because we've established it in all the courses before this one, how important it is to go and show up where our audience is. And for the most part, that's in Instagram. It's in Facebook Messenger. It's in LinkedIn newsfeed. So when we get there and we've taken the time to strategize our content so carefully and so strategically, we need to make sure that it gets seen. And if it doesn't, it feels like a giant waste of time and it can be very disheartening. We start to question social on the whole, along with blogging and email marketing and all the other things that we're building as part of our content strategy. So with a little bit of boosted money behind it, say $5 per post or $20 per post over the course of a few days or a week, we now know that we're forcing our content into people's news feeds, into their attention, and hopefully, because it's really well-crafted content with the right kind of message and call to action, we're getting them to take action and do something with it. And then, of course, go down through our customer journey and take the actions that get them to check out or subscribe or contact form, etc. So the Facebook Business Suite is an important place to start. We're going to first do a tour and meet the backbone of our Facebook and Instagram strategy on the whole and where we can manage our posts and our paid campaigns from start to finish inside of Business Suite. So important, as well as setting it up. So we're going to add our account, first build our account, then add our people, our pages, our ad account, our pixel, if you're ready for that. See where the posts and the post scheduler go. See where the inbox is, where we can manage absolutely every conversation happening in our Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger accounts, and then build from there. All right, so look at the landscape first of all. What are we dealing with here? First things first, we know that we have literally almost 3 billion monthly active users on Facebook currently, and it's growing all the time across the globe, particularly as new markets come on board and user base grows for a number of reasons because the features have grown and they've pulled us in. And we know how many people in North America in particular are utilizing Facebook on a daily basis. The numbers don't lie. There are also an enormous amount of people on Instagram. We know that they passed the billion active user mark several years ago, and they're consistently growing all the time as well. Despite regulation, despite pushback, people are using the platform, and they're on it all the time, as you learned in some of our Instagram stats in our content class. We also know that there's a huge uptake of LinkedIn, particularly in North America and Canada, but we've got a huge opportunity there because of how high our organic reach can be and how few content creators there are. But that's not to say that if we are a bigger brand creating promotional content or some of our more salesy messaging, that it's not really important to also consider boosting that content to ensure it gets seen. You might have noticed on LinkedIn that your personal content gets a great amount of reach, but when you post as your business, not so much. So this is where we have to consider whether it's worth putting a bit of money behind promoting that post to ensure it gets seen by a specific audience. So the decline of organic reach has happened over time, and we shouldn't be surprised about this. A decade or more ago when Facebook became a tool that we were able to use for free, ditto for Twitter, and then, all the others that followed, we knew and we should have better had foresight into the fact that these were advertising companies, not entertainment companies. They're positioned under the guise of being entertaining, but we know that they want us there to connect with family and friends and be entertained. But we also know that we're there to be advertised to. We have to see it that way. And as advertisers or marketers, we want to go there and do exactly that because it's a huge platform with plenty of people there. So organic reach has declined over time, kind of because it had to. These platforms had to find a way to monetize themselves, and hence they did a great job of it and have turned into the billion-dollar organizations that we've witnessed. And if we want to continue using these tools as users, we know that we're going to be advertised to. So we think about how do we get our own content seen, and how do we do it in the most effective way possible. The undervalued truth here is that our front-end content, so our copywriting, our graphics, our visual assets, our videos, have got to be properly supported by the back-end insights for sure, as we've talked about. Data is so important, but also audience targeting, content optimization, so iterating, watching, seeing what's working, changing it up, and paid campaigns, making sure it's seen and acted on. So we like to talk about it as right brain meets left brain, art meets science, organic meets paid. And where agencies, but also marketers fall flat is when they're only seeing the front end art. They're only focused on creating the best copywriting and the killer headlines and incredible graphics and illustrations, but they're not able or focused on the back end reach, which is, again, the most important piece of the puzzle. You often hear us talk about the 80-20 rule that flips things on its head, on their head, so that you're spending just 20% of your time creating absolutely world-class content, quality over quantity, and then you're spending 80% of your time ensuring it gets seen, because otherwise you're speaking to no one. So remember, social platforms are not entertainment companies, even though they may feel that way. They are the world's most powerful advertising companies. And their ability to target us and laser target us, depending on what we like and what we've watched and what we've engaged with and what we believe in and who we're friends with and where we live, is unparalleled. And there is no other advertising agency, not even the government, that can meet that level of tailored, targeted, in-your-face kind of content or reach. So we've talked about it a little bit, but let's sum it up. Why advertise on social media? Well, we want to target the people that we want to reach, who are our potential audience members, because we've mapped those people out in a few courses ago. We can reach new people, so non-fans and non-followers who haven't yet heard of us yet. We can drip our content right into their newsfeed to ensure that they are aware of us going forward, and then we move them through the customer journey. We can put our budget where it performs, so we can pull it away from poor performing content or ad campaigns almost immediately or within a few days when we start to see the data come in. And we can then adjust and allocate it to what's working in boosted posts, ad campaigns, retargeting campaigns, etc. Analyzing and adjusting as we go, which you cannot do when you place a series of magazine ads that give you very little data, very little ability to iterate or improve, and not a whole lot of opportunity to adjust your budget, move things around, and turn up what's working and turn off what's not. Beyond that, we're putting our money where the people are. So the insane amount of Facebook and Instagram users, as we talked about, this is so important to continue reminding ourselves. You can focus all day long on, your blog or your e-newsletter or whatever it is, your website, which is great. But we also want to really be aware of where the people are now. And it doesn't hurt sometimes to post your blog or post your content in your e-newsletter, but then also cross-post it, maybe change it a little bit to a platform where people are spending their time. That's why people will cross-post their blog from their website over to Medium, the world's largest blogging platform, or to LinkedIn articles to ensure it gets seen in both places. So we're taking that into consideration all the time. Where are the people and what do they want from us? The goal, of course, with our paid content is just like our organic content that we talked extensively about in course number 2, Content Writing and Publishing. Getting the right content seen by the right people at the right time in the right place. And we can do this with anecdotal insights where we're listening, we're seeing, we know what's working, as well as, of course, analytical insights, that actual data science that the platforms are serving us up to say, hey, this is when your people are online, this is what day of the week they engage the most, this is the content that they love, and here's who they are. So overall, we want to drip, not spray our message across the land, and we want to target, not just pray that it's getting seen. dripping into just the proper inbox, just like an orchard. You don't spray it with all the water in the world. You want to have a drip mechanism that's dripping it into just the right base of every apple tree so that nothing is wasted. If we put a billboard on the side of the 401 highway, sure, 8 million people drive by it per week. Woohoo! But what quantity of those people or percentage of that audience is actually a candidate for what we're selling? 5%, maybe 50%, but probably more like 5 to 10. So narrowing it down and targeting and getting our tailored content into the right audiences or inboxes and news feeds saves us so much money and also time and angst. So the opportunity, if we look at what we've got at our fingertips in terms of platforms and ad types and placements and spending capabilities, it's pretty endless, but we're going to focus on the big ones. So we know that there are rising ad costs, yes, because more businesses, notably the multinational companies, the big brands that you would traditionally see and still might in the first 20 pages of your Vogue magazine or of Time magazine, those big advertisers with gigantic advertising budgets, the Super Bowl ads. Well, they are now pulling more and more of their budget towards digital advertising because, like we've just talked about, they know that's where the people are. So with that allocation of additional spending on these platforms, Facebook ads get more expensive, supply and demand. There are less placement opportunities for us unless we want to really pay a premium. However, when it's done well and our message is really tight and it's on point and our imagery is so eye-catching and people resonate with that ad and it gets seen and it gets seen and it gets shared, well, now our cost per ad go way down. Our ad performs well. The reach is higher, the results are higher, and our budget has stayed the same. So our cost per click goes down. Our cost per mil, or 1,000 people seeing it, goes down. So when we do it properly, we can have an unbelievable return, and we can do way better than those big guys who are just basically, advertising to any and everyone they can in a lot of cases. We know that we have the opportunity to utilize incredible imagery. We can take advantage of the platforms and their abilities for horizontal, vertical, video support, graphics, carousels, instant experiences that light up your phone. There's so many different placements and ad types available to us now that are so cool and make our ads that much more powerful and, high performing. There's so many ad types, as I mentioned, but just to the next level: messenger ads, stories, lead generation ads, shopping ads, where we can literally touch the ad and see what the products are in that ad, and then they're connected to that Facebook catalog of products that the person has set up or the business has set up. And now I don't even have to leave the platform. I'm still in Instagram or Facebook, but I'm able to shop right from it. And in one click, just about, I'm at checkout. And that is a primo customer journey that is tight and sweet and easy to navigate and powerful for you as the business owner that gets them to the finish line fast. The placements are pretty endless. We can choose where we want our ads to show as we get towards the end of our ad creation, which we'll look at when we're setting it up. I can determine, do I want it to appear on every possible placement that Facebook and Instagram are offering me? Or do I just want to pick and choose and only have this particular ad show up in stories because it looks really good in a vertical format? I built it that way. Or do I only want it to be in, instant articles, etc.? The anatomy of the ads today is also really well thought out and strategic, and plenty of room for us to make some inroads here. The text, the eye-catching brand and imagery we're able to have, the ability to add a call to action button as soon as that content has some money behind it. If it's an organic post, not so much. You can't send someone off the platform. But as soon as I'm paying for that ad, yes, I can add a button with my URL to direct them to my website to buy, subscribe, call me, whatever. I can edit the landing page URLs and highly visible headlines and other pieces of descriptive text throughout the ad that give me ample opportunity to win someone over. Proven pathways. This is one of our favorite, more sophisticated pieces of the ad campaign journey, where we're able to take people, as I mentioned earlier, on a quick journey from newsfeed to checkout in like 3 clicks or less. And not only that, but as we'll look at in Module 3, pathways that take people from a cold lead to a hot prospect or a hot buyer, one ad to the next. And so the way that we can serve our ad to people that have already engaged with our content or been on our website in the last week and move them through that customer journey and keep serving them up the right type of ad, depending on how much they know us and how ready they are to buy, is unbelievably powerful. And you tell me any TV commercial that can do that for you. So there's 2 ways to advertise on social media, and this goes for several other platforms beyond just Facebook and Instagram. But we're really focusing on Facebook and Instagram because, as I mentioned, they are the most sophisticated advertising tools on the internet today, maybe alongside Google Ads, but there's more to them because they're so highly visual and there's so many placements as we just looked at. So we're going to focus on boosted and promoted posts first. That's where you boost your post to make sure it gets seen. And then the second piece in Module 3, we'll look at ad campaigns, which have a whole lot more to them. But boosted and promoted posts are the great place to start. So we like to say that they're necessary and powerful. If you're just creating content and it's organic or unpaid, you're probably going to see a pretty low reach. And this is again because the algorithms have gotten highly competitive and highly filtered over the years because they have so much content to show someone at any given time. If you think about the average 2-minute scroll of the average user on Facebook, the stat is that there is anywhere from 20 to 50,000 potential posts that person could be served or shown. And that's for the average user with an average amount of friends, or followers, and then businesses that are targeting them. So Facebook has to filter that down to something far more reasonable and that they think that user really wants to see, because you don't want to see all of it. So they're going to think that you want to see these posts here, these 10, as well as they have to slip in a few ads. Take note of how often you're served a promoted piece of content or an ad when you're scrolling in your Instagram or Facebook feed. And I bet it's at least 1 in every 5 to 1 in every 7 posts. So when we boost our content, we're now becoming part of that paid mix and getting seen by strangers and people who know us alike. And as you can see on here, wherever there's a blue boost post button where Facebook is encouraging us to go back or to have boosted those posts, and we didn't, the reach is so much lower. You don't see the big orange bars in terms of, and this is just a shortcut, insights page within our Facebook insights. I'm looking at posts and I can see right away what posts perform really well. I can dig deeper into that in other sections of my insights if I want. But at a glance here, I am seeing that those that got a bit of a boost, and for us, it's usually between $5 and $15 to $20 per boosted post over 3 to 5 days, we can see that the reach was like 5 times higher. And in fact, you can see organic versus paid reach there at the bottom on a particular boost, but I can also toggle at the top of this screen to see fans versus non-fans. And I'll see that there was a very few amount of fans that saw it, but a whole bunch of non-fans, new audiences, new eyeballs. So really cool. So this line, I'm just going to reiterate it again. Content that is not seen and heard has zero economic value. It's a tough statement to say. And yeah, sure, that post is going to sit in your feed or on your account in Instagram and look nice and add to your overall grid aesthetic, sure. But if it's not seen when you post it because nobody cared and nobody noticed and you don't have that many fans, or your organic reach is like 1%, just like most every business, then it feels again like a bit of a waste of time. So we want to make sure that we are doing something about it. So let's dive into Facebook Business Suite. We'll see how we set it up. We'll tour it a little bit. And then in Module 2, we'll look at exactly how to go about boosting our content very strategically and affordably so that we are completing the loop and we're not just creating the content and then praying that someone will see it. So this is the backbone of our Facebook and Instagram efforts, as I mentioned, and the reasons being plenty. But first things, let's make sure we're clear that we know that a business page is not Business Suite. We constantly have people say to us, yeah, I've got Business Suite, or as it used to be called, Business Manager. Well, if you're in the blue bar, that's your business page, and you probably have one of those by now for your company, as opposed to just your personal page. You really want to make sure you have a business page set up so you can utilize it properly and all the business tools available to you. But what we're talking about here is Business Suite, which is the gray bar, and it comes with a whole package of additional features. So we use it to manage all of our Facebook pages in one place, if you happen to have more than one, to organize all of our Facebook assets. So that includes the ad accounts or account that we utilize to boost our posts and create ad campaigns, the audiences, which is perhaps the most important thing that we start with. We'll look at those. The pixels. So you're going to build a pixel within Business Suite that you can drop onto your website within the back end one time. And now every time someone lands on your website, that pixel fires and it sends information back to Facebook Business Suite, and it builds an audience for you if you have that set up. But basically it's collecting data about the people on your website. And that's how we follow people around the internet, because we know they were on our site yesterday. We know they got to checkout, but they didn't buy. We know that they love this one offering that we're providing. We want to reach them with some ads to get them to convert or get to the finish line. So that's how that's happening. And again, that's more sophisticated retargeting ad campaigns, but we want to think about using those if we're ready. And there's no harm in adding a pixel to your website now. It's not very hard, in order to utilize those audiences and have data at your fingertips when you need it and you're ready to engage in retargeting ads. So we, on the whole, have more control over who has access and just more tools at our fingertips to act like very sophisticated Facebook, Instagram marketers, as we should be. We can manage and create our ad campaigns, custom audiences, promoted posts, and we can also utilize the one seamless inbox, which is so imperative if you are managing and engaging with your fans and followers, as you should be. And so now you've got your Instagram direct messages, your Facebook comments, your Instagram comments, all in one place, and then some. So it's like an inbox, just like it sounds. So we want to stay up to date with our business. And when we sign into Business Suite, we'll see alerts and insights right away about the pages and ad accounts that matter most to our business and that we are associated with. So very powerful, just at a glance dashboards. We can add everything connected to our business, as I mentioned, and we do this through, the back end when we're setting up Business Manager, or Business Suite. So we go into settings and we're going to look at how to add those important 4 elements: pages, ad accounts, people, and assets. Access our audiences and more across our business. So we are constantly, or at least every quarter, cleaning up our audiences and rebuilding them. It is imperative that you know what audiences you have before you go boost a post randomly to, some audience I created 5 years ago, which is now super dusty and no longer relevant. So it's a good practice to not have 500 audiences or even 100, but maybe 12, maybe 20 that you are regularly going in and adjusting, or at least staying on top of, adding new interests, behaviors, geographical, demographical factors based on how your audience or your targets or your business has changed. Something to think about adding to your overall or your 12-month marketing calendar is just an audience refresh every quarter. So let's look at the setup guide. And I want you to also please remember that you have a complete Facebook Business Suite tour video within the course. So head on over there if you want to see me take you through it in real time. All of the things we're about to look at, I have an extensive video for you where I show you every piece of this back end. So business.facebook.com, that's where we start. If you haven't created an account there yet, please do that. That's different from your Facebook account. Remember, you have your Facebook account, that's necessary, where you've built your page from, probably your business page. And then you have your Business Suite account that you're going to pull that page into. And it's going to require the same login. So you can't have a Business Suite account without being a Facebook member. So you're going to log in and essentially create the name of it, and be aware of your naming conventions here. I like to make it pretty clear as I'm going through the setup of my Business Suite for whatever company that this is the Business Suite account, or so I'll call it Social School Business, or that it's the page, or that it's the ad account, Social School ad account, Social School Pixel, social school audiences, just so that I'm clear, because Facebook likes to bump you around and sometimes you're in a weird view and you're like, what is this? Am I even in the right pixel or in the right ad account? So name accordingly. So you're going to log in, as I mentioned, and be taken into this fabulous gray environment, the gunmetal gray, I guess we could call it. And I like to bookmark this. I really like to have my Business Suite home, where you see the little house there on the left, as a bookmark in my Google Chrome is my browser of choice. And then I also bookmark my business page, because those are the two things I need to get to quickly on a regular basis. I need to see the page and be on the front end or get right into my business page, but then I also need to get home to my Business Suite. Maybe you want to also bookmark your ads manager or your audiences, but generally we want to get to know this gray dashboard, and the longer you spend in it, I promise you it'll get more familiar. This is like anything. This is going to be overwhelming if it's your first time in this dashboard, and it's going to be confusing. And I get confused often, and I'm in here every day. Like, where did that go? And oh yes, I have to go to the See More tab, or I have to back up a step, or I've been bumped over to Facebook Creator Studio to build my posts. So just be aware that there's a lot here. They're building on it all the time. And the worst thing to do, in my opinion, is to get overwhelmed and confused by it and never return. It's not too difficult. You just have to be patient. You're not going to learn an entirely new tool overnight. So first thing we want to do, or after we create our account, is add our page. And you can see here the instructions how to do so, and you'll see that, of course, in the demo video as well, but it's pretty simple. We're always looking for these blue buttons, and of course, we have to first get into that little gear window, which is the settings, and then we want to find those little blue buttons wherever they are. They're sometimes hidden in the top corners. It'll say Add Assets or Add Page. So if you've gone from previous screen, you're in Settings, that gear button there. If you push that little gear from the home menu, the next thing you'll see is adding your assets, or you'll see a menu there. Click on that, and then in Assets, you've got Pages, Ad Accounts, Instagram accounts, etc. And this is where we add our page. So what is it that you're adding? Well, probably your Facebook page, and then you can come back and do it again to add your Instagram account. And you want to claim an existing page, probably. If you don't have one, you could build your page right here if you wanted, but it's probably adding an existing. You have to be sure that not only are you the admin of the page, but you're the owner of the page. Otherwise, you might be able to request to share a page, but really this is your time, and it might really derail your efforts here. And if it does, you've got to do this and then come back. But you've got to ensure that you are the owner of this page. And unfortunately, this is where a lot of our students get tripped up, because they're like, I'm an admin, but my secretary 20 years ago, 5 years ago, or my ex-wife built the page and I'm not the owner. What do I do? You have to get ownership of this page, or Facebook will not let you control it start to finish. That other person will have to pull it into Business Suite and add you to it. So it's a pain in the butt, but the reason this has gotten more tight over the years is because these are really important assets. People use their business page on Facebook as and their Instagram account as one of their absolutely most important business tools. It's literally like the most important part of their marketing strategy next to their website. So when you have tens of and hundreds of thousands of fans on a page, of course you want to ensure that your ownership is locked tight. And that's why in some cases we have to get in touch with Facebook, prove we're the owner, and go through this whole rigmarole. And I'm sorry to say that hopefully that won't be you, and it'll be dead easy to add your page, but get your house in order and it'll be worth the hassle when you come back to this. So add your Instagram business account, as I mentioned, and claim it just by logging in essentially, and hopefully that'll bring you to the next step, which is adding your ad account. So this is in the same zone of the assets, where we can add an ad account, and probably this is going to be an existing ad account if you have one, or maybe you're creating one from scratch. If your old one is a mess, if it was attached to your personal profile, I can't say this enough. If you have not properly created an ad account, but you somehow along the way took the lead from Facebook prompting you to boost a post, boost this post, promote this content, it would have defaulted into creating you an ad account under your name. So it would have been in your personal profile, and that's maybe where you've been advertising from. This is your opportunity to create a proper ad account. Name it for your business. I call it Social School Ad Account. So it's really obvious if I get bumped to somebody else's ad account, or when I'm at the final step of launching my promoted post or my ad campaign and I can clearly see who's paying the bill in case it defaulted to some other ad account. So probably you want to claim an existing ad account or start a new one, and just be really aware when you're setting it up of currency, because you can't go back. And adding the credit card, you're going to need to, or you'll get stuck. I'm going to say this again. As you're starting to build out your Facebook Business Suite, if you don't input a credit card, they're going to limit some of the things you can do. Sometimes that's even building your audiences. I hate to say it, but the only way I can describe it is that it seems like they want to know that you're in it, that you're a serious advertiser and you've taken those proper steps before moving towards like building mock campaigns and creating powerful audiences. So if you can, try and get a credit card in there so that your billing is set up alongside your ad account with the proper, address and currency. And you don't have to spend a thing until you're ready to go. You can also put ad limits on each of your ad accounts so that it never goes over $50 there's never an accidental spend. Beyond that, I set ours to incremental spend so that every $500, for example, we get notified and billed so that I'm always aware of where it's at. There's no surprises. This isn't going to be some radio horror story where you hear the newsman talking about how some small business accidentally spent $25,000 without knowing it. Okay, so there you are. Currency, time zone, name that ad account, all important details, which you'll figure out quite easily as you go. Again, there you can add your payment method or a spending limit if you feel inclined. And as you can see now, when we're in the business assets column there, we've got the ability to toggle through all those different assets, pages, ad accounts, Instagram accounts, and then more if we add them. Speaking of, adding people and permissions. So where do we do this? Well, and this is really important. You can utilize, once you've created this, your business account, you can add people using their work email address. So that's great. They're now, it's part of their work platform and they're going to log in with that to Business Suite. You've already set it up. You're inviting them to your Business Suite, and they can log in with their whatever email address you set them up with or you invite them from. So we're back in that gear button, settings, and this time instead of adding business assets, we're adding people. So invite them and then decide if they're an employee or admin level access, and it describes right there for you what the difference is. So just be aware of that, but don't worry, no one can ever take ownership of the page away from you or of your business assets. They're just getting admin level control for advertising, insights, etc. And then, of course, you can go deeper into what their individualized access is. So it's going to prompt you right from there. When you've added the person, it's going to say, great, what do you want to give them beyond just employee or admin access? What assets do they have access to? And you can decide what pages, what ad accounts, and what level of control they have. It'll walk you right through it. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you feel like you're missing something in the main settings menu, I encourage you to check out more tools. So go back to home, find that more tools button and go in there. And you're going to suddenly go, oh, there's my ads manager, which is coming in module 3. There's my audiences, which is coming up right quick. There's billing, events manager. And don't be confused. That's not Facebook events that you get invited to. That's a pixel firing. That's a conversion, but they call it events just to be confusing. And other such things in there. So more tools can be pretty helpful in both your setup and your ongoing management. And again, I encourage you to just spend an hour flipping through this platform all over the place until you feel like you kind of get what's happening. All right. That is the end of Module 1. Way to go. Look at us flying through. Remember, now is your time to go into that video demo of the Facebook Business Suite setup tour that's in this course right at the start in your intro area, and watch that and then go ahead and create your own account. Add everything we just talked about. If you want to set up a pixel, you can do that too. You'll find it in there as part of your assets. And And again, just get set up properly for when we dive into audiences and ads manager coming up. I will see you in module 2. Very best of luck, and keep on going.